What's going on, everyone? We are just tuning in here today for an exciting hour, soon to be joined by our co-host, Kelly Tenney, covering the topic of creating dynamic video topics for your ideal clients. We're going to be utilizing a workflow that leverages AI, large language models, to research and brainstorm topics that you can create video content on, and then how to quickly film that content, get it edited and distributed online. Tuning in right now is my co-host, Kelly Tenney, and we will kick things off. What's up, Kelly? here, joined today by those who choose to venture into these types of deep dives live, but an actionable, practical demonstration that we were talking about. What would be cool to showcase an actual deliverable outcome from AI? Yeah, sure, AI is great for brainstorming and all those things, but what about actually not just taking an idea for a video topic, but actually getting it out into distribution on social media, which is where I think that gap is where a lot of people get hung up. You get the ideas from AI, but what do you do next to actually put it out there? And my goal today with this call is to demonstrate with you a process that we can do to co-create some content, get it out quickly, and then use and refine and grow and innovate on this process. But before we dig into that, Kelly, it's so good to see you. How have you been and how are things in your world?
Things are good, fast moving as always. I just feel like there's so much that's always like we're trying to keep up and new tools and new changes in the tools that we're using. And so it's just ever evolving. And I'm excited about this because I know that we've had so many conversations inside the Gen AI community around like all of the really innovative, cool things that people are doing that sometimes we just get stuck in that I have a million ideas, but what am I actually using as part of my workflow? So I'm excited to be on this call today and to actually move through from start to finish what a full workflow might look like from beginning to end. And I think that hopefully people find it helpful and they find that it's something that they can put and use inside of their own business as they continue to innovate and to leverage AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that has been more and more apparent the more that all these AI tools come out and give us all the resources really we need is knowing what direction to go and what's a finish line look like, or at least a milestone that we can progress towards. And as we're going through the process today of building out and I like building out our ideation process, understanding what topics we want to start to create on, and then what is the simplest, fastest way for us to create some content and get it out there. And then, of course, you can take this to the moon and back with a full editing team, with tons of fancy software, but we're going to be demonstrating just a few tools here that are extremely accessible and affordable to anyone running a business, from a solopreneur budget all the way up through agency levels and beyond. But I'd love to start, Kelly, with the why behind this training, specifically for today. Why are we creating content in the first place, and why video content? And why are we using AI in this process? And so I want to hear from you. Why do you create video content in your business in the first place? And what's driving you to continue to produce video content as you're looking at as a lever to build and grow your business from?
All right, so let's be fully transparent. As many of you know that I always am. We know that video content is like where it's at, right? We know that all different formats of video content have better conversions. They're more widely viewed and watched. We know in the world of TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, this conversation around the power of micro content and short content isn't a new conversation. And we know that now we're seeing that video content has a lot more leverageability and gains more traction because that's just what people want to see. Where this is concerned, and when you and I were talking about what could be a really valuable workflow for us or topic to cover, for anybody who follows me, you all know that I am really inconsistent with video content. And I know, Darby, like we've had even conversations around just the amount of time that goes into producing any time of video content. And I think there's a really big gap in, can I sit down and knock out 5, 60, 90-second reels And then between that gap and do I actually need to do to make it, to produce it and make it like quality and ready that I would want my brand to see. Of course, we could all easily just get up and just sit down and film a bunch of reels. But we know that with the type of videos that other people are producing, especially people that might be seen as like leaders or experts in the market when it comes to video content, you can tell that it's edited content. You can tell that they simply didn't say, oh, I have 5 minutes, let me press play and record something and put it out there. And I think that's where we get lost in the weeds. I certainly know that's where I get lost in the weeds. In fact, I probably have 10 1-minute video reels somewhere, whether it's on my phone or on my computer, that are sitting there because the production side takes a long time. And for anybody watching this, I'd love to hear how many of you like feel that pain point of just, okay, it's really not about recording the video. If I can get past the what to record and actually record it, it's also about the production side of it. And that's where I know, Darby, you've spent a lot of time on that workflow, learning how to produce videos. I have seen a difference in the types of reels and things that you're producing as part of Gen AI University. And so when I think about this topic, I know that for myself, for someone who knows how powerful and important good video content is, if I can raise my hand and say, I'm not consistently putting it out because I haven't fully found that workflow that is fast and efficient for me, then I would imagine that there's many people out there that are also experiencing the same thing. And I know that we've given our community so many different types of templates and prompts where they have the ability to generate the content and the ideas, but it's that post-recording piece that is sometimes missing in that workflow. And I think this is an important component and an important call, because I think you will be able to help us really see what a smooth AI leveraged workflow for video production can be, which may in turn close the gaps that I think many people feel around what do I do once the video is recorded.
Absolutely. And I think something to highlight as we're going into this conversation and demonstration throughout the rest of this video today is the amount of noise out there that AI content is continuing to generate. And this hasn't changed in terms of, it's been a thing for a few years now since people have been understanding these tools, using them to create content, but the quantity of noise just continues to compound. And the more and more noise there is out there, on the flip side, where are people spending their time and focused and engagement? It's not always with the person that's producing the most content. It's the person that's connecting with and engaging with people through their content. And that right now, to me, is best done by creating content that's simply authentic. It's not following a word for word templated script that makes you sound like a robot. It's not cloning yourself and your voice and totally removing you from the process. It's leveraging AI tools to help you with getting this content produced more. And then throughout this process, the more, especially if you're like on the solo content creator, entrepreneur front, you're a consultant, it's just you, or maybe an assistant or two, is understanding where your team's capabilities are and the resources that you can tap into from the human capital side of things, because there needs to be people managing and operating these content systems, and tools like Opus Pro and tools like Descript are like quite literally almost everything that you would need if you want to just get up and running and started very quickly with minimal editing. And to me, a lot of the graphics and the design and all the extra components, that's all icing on and cherries on top of the cake. To me, if I can get an idea and I can get clear on what I want to say in a video and I can articulate it in 1, 2, 3 minutes from my phone, it might take me much more time than that 1, 2, or 3 minutes to just get that idea and process it. But then once I can nail the content, I know that I can nail that part. And that's what I need to be most proficient at as the creator behind this whole production process. But then what are the next steps? And to me, the next steps to simplify the process as much as possible have been utilizing Descript and their newer feature right now, which is the AI underlord, because nobody wants an AI overlord. So Descript came out with their underlord feature, which gives you the ability When I was using this just the other day, you can, after you record a video, if you upload it into the script, you can use it to create a green screen effect behind you. You can remove your background. You can add different backgrounds. You can use studio sound to clarify your voice. You can remove ums and ahs and filler words, and you can condense word gaps. You can quickly text and delete a lot of content. There's so much in the terms of resources for how you can use these scripts that are out on YouTube. I'm not going to get into the technical aspects of it, but this is all stuff that would have just been in the weeds, technical minutia that would just take time from an editing perspective, that to me make videos a lot easier and quicker to just edit, clean up, and then get out there. But then there's a format to how a video can be produced to experiment with how you're hooking people into your content, how you're engaging with them throughout your video, and if you have a call to action. And again, depending on the purpose and the goal of the video, that could come in a number of different ways. For the purpose of today, Kelly, I think we're going to start with finding an idea for a content, for a topic, but with the goal of getting that idea that you're going to film in a minute to 90-second type of video, where you're going to have the idea. We'll use AI to help us with coming up with an idea. We'll open up the video with a hook. I'm Kelly, Director of Wisdom at Gen AI University. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 tips about topic X that you'll find useful, and we'll figure out the contents there. But we'll open it up, introduction, who I am. This is what we're going to be covering. Cover those topics. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to Gen AI University. We'll see you in the next video. Super simple, start, finish, but we need the content in between there. And so that being said, Kelly, let's go ahead and start to dive in to the ideation process for creating a dynamic video topics for your ideal clients. Knowing what we have at our disposal, what tool are you going to use, or what tool do you think would make most sense to use to start the ideation process off?
I think using something like Claude or GPT is going to be sufficient enough to start that ideation off. And one of the things that I know that we have is, whether it's the market sauce or whatever iteration that people have, those prompts and those types of briefs have so much potential marketing copy in there, right? That's the whole concept of it. And I know a lot of times we talk about how we know we have this amazing content, when how do we use it and how do we leverage it? So I think the first step would be going into that market sauce brief and taking a look at and just picking one of the components in there, right? Whether it is a piece around pain points, maybe we look at something that we have inside the market sauce that speaks to goals. But I think picking potentially one piece of that prompt and giving it to ChatGPT or Claude and asking it, based on these pain points, goals, whatever, what could be some compelling video topics?
All right, let's start there. And I'm assuming you've got the prompts already pulled up. If not, we can go find them. Those are inside of our book, The Buyer's Brief. And if you're part of our membership or our community, you may have some variation of these prompts already saved somewhere. And if you don't have these prompts, you don't have the book, you can find it on Amazon. But you can also go to marketsauce.ai/mentalist, and that will give you access to the free GPT that actually has a lot of these prompts built into it, because the Buyer's Brief book is part of its knowledge base. So 100% free ChatGPT usable GPT that you can start to use to interact with it. And maybe we should just start there, Kelly, rather than copying and pasting from a book, because again, the more that you understand all of the prompts inside of the blueprint and the brief, the better you'll be able to navigate and understand where this GPT can fit into your workflow. But if you want to just open up that GPT, we could show people how quickly you can get started inside of ChatGPT, start to brainstorming these ideas.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. Do you want to send me the link to open that up?
I will send you that link right now. Yes.
And what I did have ready, although I think this is better to just go through the whole thing with the GPT, but what I did, and what you can do if you already have the book or the brief, is I just pulled a section of it into my GPT, right? So it's a quick cut and paste of a section that potentially you want to work with, and then it's just going through and prompting it and asking the questions of how can you help me find
Yeah.
and
And if you want to
come up with things.
show the book as well, if you have it up, where these prompts line up with it, because that is helpful to know that you can copy and paste them directly in case you need a specific section to pull from.
Yeah, actually what I did is had already pulled from the book, and where did I
Okay.
put it? And I put it, just copy and pasted for this call in this chat. But let's go ahead and, oops, stop sharing. I lost it. Let's go ahead and just use this, because I think anybody, even if they've already done it or pulled from the book, we'll find that using the GPT is super helpful, especially if you want to rerun something, right? Or if you want to tweak something really quickly a little bit and so forth. What I could do here in this is I can just talk about, for example, what the topic is,
Hmm.
right? And I want to decide, do I want to write something that's going to address pain points? Do I want to write something that's going to address goals? I think one of the biggest things around when we come up ourselves with topics, we always tend to come from the same perspective. So I know just personally, when I record video content, or really when I write any content, I tend to want to speak to pain points. In something where I think like this GPT tool is so powerful is because I have to recognize that if I'm always speaking to pain points, there are people out there that are not driven by pain points. Maybe they're more goal oriented. And so when you're always coming from the same perspective, I always ask myself, am I leaving potential leads on the table because they just don't resonate with pain points? They aren't people that are going to act from a pain point. There may be people that are going to act from some other type of motivational driver. I might just share that.
So we're just starting this conversation with what you want, right? I want to
Yep.
create X.
Yep. I want to create some videos and quick AI tools and tip to, I am speaking to maybe coaches,
Hmm.
consultants, business owners. I'm just going to start by asking goals. What goals do they have when it comes to using AI?
Okay.
So again, like if you've run the full brief and things like that, this is stuff that's already there. But I don't ever think it's a bad idea to go back and to see what else things come up with. For everybody that's been using AI in a consistent basis, we all know that the output sometimes changes and it comes up with different things. And I
Hmm.
think I think it would be silly to not consistently go back and see what does it have to say today. I really just think with the speed that we can do that in, it's always useful to do that. Okay. These professionals want efficiency and automation. So they want to automate administrative tasks, things like that. And so they're looking to use AI. They want to enhance client services. They offer personalized services to their clients so that they can leverage insights, customer insights, personalization, and so forth. Content creation and marketing. We know in this community that's a really strong goal that
Hmm.
people have. How can I create more content with the help of AI in a faster manner? Decision making and strategy, using AI to provide insights through data analysis, helping business owners make informed decisions. Scalability. How can we use AI to scale? Client acquisition and lead generation, right? Looking for lead generation, how can we use AI to do that? With this, I would look at this and I would just think about our communities. When it comes to what type of person do we want to actually bring into Gen AI University, knowing what we do inside, knowing the type of people that we have, I would look at it for which one of these is more in alignment with the goal of people that we're bringing in, and which one of these goals maybe is most in alignment with the type of content that we provide inside Gen AI University. And so I know we talk a lot about content creation, we talk about scaling, we talk about lead generation. I don't know how much we talk about business strategy, right, in terms of running your business. So this might be something that I would think from our standpoint. I don't know that I would speak to this. So we're always about content creation and marketing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these goals. In this case, I'm going to pick number 3. And I'm going to now ask if it will help me brainstorm 1-minute video content ideas.
You're saying based on this idea, here's the idea that we want to focus on. Help me with
Mhm.
doing X. And this is the outcome I'm looking for to instruct
Yep, help me
ChatGPT.
brainstorm for 1 minute. Okay, so what I'm looking for, obviously, as we talked about, are like, what are some things I can film a 1 minute video around that might be valuable and speak to the goals of the person that I would love to see inside of this community. Now, I love this, Darby, because I know before we started, you talked about how we need a hook, we need a call to action, right? And you can see here that your tool is already recognizing some of the components that we're going to need in a
Hmm.
60-second reel, right? So what do you start with? What's the main component of it? This one has a hook at the end, right? A lot of these are dealing with call to action. Obviously, if we wanted to go back and say, I want these components in my video, we know that it could we redraft that. So I might
Hmm.
say, I would like both a hook and
So now we're
a
giving
video.
it that interaction back based on this. Now I want you to restructure this in this sort of
Yes.
format, giving it that structure that you're looking for so it
Yeah.
knows what
I'm
lane to
gonna
stay in.
Yep, I'm going to tell it keep the introduction and the main point. I like that. But what you see here is that it's dividing, it's picking either to include a call to action or a hook. And I
Mm.
would love to see what it looks like to have all of those components within the ideas. So I just redirected it, telling it, please put both of these in each video and don't lose any of the other parts that you're giving me so far. Okay, so you can see here it's repeating back. So it understands it needs a hook, an intro, the main content, and the call to action. Now, as I'm reading this, I like the topics, right? AI content creation in 60 seconds, turn ideas into posts, AI powered social media in under a minute, from zero to engaging blog post with AI. You'll see that a lot of the main content is a demonstration, right? And
Hmm.
so here's where I think it's time to pick, are we going left or right? Now, for somebody like you, Darby, who is who was much more well versed in video editing, you might see how, oh, you could film this, you could fill the intro, you could do a quick demonstration
Hmm.
screen share, and we can just put it together, right? For someone like me who has admittedly said I'm completely inconsistent and stumble around the video editing piece, my brain is saying there's no way I could do this and do a screen share demonstration in 60 seconds. We know it can be done because we see the videos out there, but I think at this point, it's time to decide, are we doing some kind of like B-roll, like where we bring in another type of demonstration as part of these 60 seconds? Or am I instead looking for something that I can just speak to? Maybe it's a
Yeah.
verb tip or something like that. And if that's the case, I want to redirect.
Yeah, and I think
Gee,
that's where we're going here is like understanding your own strength and like how do you want to
yes.
get this content out in a way that's going to be as frictionless as possible. And again, there is time that goes into the post-production of this. The more B-roll you want to add in, of course, AI can help in some cases with that, but in a lot of cases, it's still editing and fine-tuning and making sure the whole video clips together, which is not a bad thing. It is just something that does take time and understanding of execution of the whole process. So we want to further refine it in this case to what's going to play to Kelly's strengths, where she knows she can just kick this over to me and then we can get it out there and post it on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, and so that's why I wanted to stop and just model the thought that was going through my head because I do know, and I have heard people tell me when I use GPT for video ideas, it wants me to demonstrate something, do a screen share, and I don't know how to do that. So I just go back to not recording videos because something
Mhm.
like this just seems too overwhelming. And so, really, the idea is that we can actually say, like you said, I'm not up for doing some crazy demonstration today. I just am ready to sit and do some talking, share a tip or a strategy. So you can see here, I'm now redirecting it back and tweaking it even more with just, this is what I want. So now I've
Mhm.
asked it to help me create the same videos, but with just tips that I can share, not including demonstrations and screen shares. Okay. And this is important for everybody who's already or thinking about leveraging AI for video content, don't be afraid to don't take the output and say, that sounds hard. I'm not going to do it today. Darby, like just what you said, ask yourself, what can I do? And if it's not generating the results that you feel like you can do, certainly go back and say, here's what I can do. Can you start over?
Hmm.
So you can see that it's continued. It is still giving me, which is interesting. And Darby, I'd love to see what you think about this. A lot of times it will just completely give you new ideas. So I think it's interesting that it's continuing, and it's obviously whatever is behind your market sauce GPT. It's sticking with the same ideas, which I actually like, because I know if I were in Claude or just GPT 4.0, every time I asked it to do something, redo it, very often it doesn't preserve the ideas that it started with from the very beginning. And so what I end up seeing outside of this tool is, oh man, in the beginning, it was really giving me good ideas, but as I tweak it and ask it to refine, now it's spitting out different ideas. So I think using your market sauce GPT, right? Obviously, the structure that you've built behind it is allowing me to continue to work with those same ideas and really just revamp the ideas instead of having AI completely start over and say, here's 10 completely new ideas.
Yeah. And
So,
my only caveat to that is sometimes AI is going to AI, and it
yep.
may happen in this instance too, but certainly the way that we've started this thread, I think, is helping keeping it on the same page, because you started from the top and then you said, okay, based on this, let's do this. Now, based on this, let's refine it and now do this. If you had said just one key word of create 10 new ideas in this
Yep.
format, it would have picked up on that and shifted. And so the use of language and getting it to this point has been critical to keeping it on track.
Yeah, and you're right, AI, but like I said, and that's why I said I'd love to hear what you think. I don't often see with it, even when I tell it to use the same thing, I won't often see it generate the same ideas. So I think it's really interesting that it's sticking with the same ideas, and I like that. Okay, so now we've got 10 valid ideas that I could sit and record really quickly. AI content creation in 60 seconds. It's basically telling me, here's your hook, here's how you introduce yourself, here's the tip that you're going to share, and here's the call to action. Okay, so what I would love to do is I would love to pick one of these and actually record it on my phone and send it over to you, Darby, so that you can take that actual video and you can show us your magic on the other side of taking a raw video reel and using Opus, which I believe, or Descript, one of the two tools that you're using, or maybe both, to show us what the post-recording production piece looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's
Okay.
let's keep it
All right,
going.
we're gonna do this. All right, so I'm gonna take my phone and I'm just gonna set it up so I can do a quick recording video. I'm gonna pick,
I think as you're picking, Kelly, for those watching, is you're picking something that you already know about, like intuitively. You've been doing this for years and you're an expert on a lot of topics related to AI content creation, especially related to education. So you can speak to a lot of this from your own perspective, which is, again, the authenticity that we're looking for here, not looking for a cookie cutter dry. Everyone
right.
sounds the same script. Pick the idea, get your creative juices flowing, and let Kelly flow out with all of your knowledge and expertise. So whatever you're applying this for in your own business, pick stuff that you actually know what you're talking about. I think is the first place to start from here as you're going through this process, to know that you're actually delivering content that has weight to it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And so as you can see me scrolling through these ideas, I'm just going to speak to number 9 for a second. This is a great idea, right? Winning headlines with AI. But I don't talk about headlines. That's just not something that I talk about. I know that I need headlines, but like you said, my expertise is around micro content. It's around education. We've done a lot with repurposing and the power of repurposing. So something like this to me is something that I feel like I could speak to and speak about naturally, and it wouldn't be out of left field where it's like, why is Kelly talking about headlines all of a sudden? So I think that's an important piece, and that allows us to move away from, notice these are just speaking points. It's not an actual script. So this also allows us to move away from reading the script so that you do get those more authentic types of videos that just feel more natural, that flow, and that I think most importantly already are in alignment with your brand or your wheelhouse or things that other people have seen before. So I'm going to take my phone, just going to set it up right here, and I'm going to roll with number 8 and that concept. So I'm going to record this live while you guys are all sitting here on Zoom with me, and I'm going to send it to you, Darby, and have you edit.
All right.
Ready? Okay. Why create new content from scratch when AI can really help you repurpose it? My name is Kelly Tenney. I'm the Director of Wisdom here at Gen AI University. And did you know that AI makes it easy to transform old content into fresh material? Here's a tip. You can take a blog post and let AI turn it into multiple social media posts, email snippets, or even video scripts and ideas, just like the one that you are watching here today. All you need is a simple tool like ChatGPT or Claude. This will save you time while keeping your content consistent. If you want more AI ideas, hacks, tips, and tricks, be sure to join us inside Gen AI University so that you can be a part of our community and really learn how to leverage AI. Okay. So that was a little under 60 seconds. It was about 52 seconds. But what I'm going to do, Darby, is I'm going to share this with you, and I'm going to let you take over and take us through that post-recording stage. Let me see if I can just send this to you in Slack. And if not,
So I'm going to stop just sharing while you're doing that, Kelly,
okay.
because we've now got the content recorded. You had that structure, you opened it up, said who you were, what we're going to cover, gave the quick tips, and then a simple call to action. And while there may be a lot of different formulas to success on what can go viral, what works, what doesn't work, I think at the end of the day is also testing your formatting and reviewing the content that we post to see what's resonating and what's sticking with our audience as much as anything else. And so it's not just about putting it out and letting it sit and then stepping back and never reviewing it again. There's a whole process to, after it's already posted, reviewing content, assessing what's hitting and what's not, and then directing the future content creation efforts around those new insights. And so it's a consistent refinement of process. And I got your video sent on over to me. 54 seconds. I'm going to download it. And Kelly just sent this over to me in my Slack. So I've got the video now uploaded in my Slack. You know what? That was such a smooth take. I don't even think we need a Descript editor here. In my workflow, I use Descript when I know that I have maybe ums and ahs. I want to condense time down from like an hour-long mastermind call that maybe there were some gaps and pauses. Maybe there was some redundancy. Maybe there were some questions on a workshop that needed to just get removed. I can edit a lot more faster in a much more detail into script for those types of videos. For this, I might just want to put some captions on it and then get it on out to YouTube. And so for this, I'm going to actually use Opus, and you can go to opus.pro, which I think since Opus has come out, I was first made aware of it a few years ago. There's a lot of powerful features that this tool has come out with. And for the price point that you can get started with Opus is, in my opinion, like unbeatable for just getting the ball rolling, getting your social accounts connected, and taking a lot of that gap out of creating this content to how do we start to post it online and get it out onto our socials. And so I'm not going to show you how to set up all your social media accounts inside of Opus right now, but I will show you how you can very simply and quickly get started in uploading this content. So I'm going to go ahead and let me make sure.
And while you're uploading that, I just want to thank you for walking us through that thought process around when you would or wouldn't use Descript, because I know that a lot of time that is the confusion of, do I use Descript? Do I use Opus? What does what best? When do I need to use both? And I think when we're talking about time, when we're talking about an accelerated workflow, recognizing like, hey, if you think your take is fine, like you said, you don't always have to go through and run it through Descript, right? And skipping that step obviously can make the video production that much faster and
Mhm.
that much easier. But I appreciate the distinction and almost like allowing ourselves to give permission. If you think it's a clean take, you don't have ums and ahs, like you said, or anything like that. Like it's okay to not use all the tools all the time.
Absolutely. And again, if there's a lot that we could do with this, we could add a rollover B-roll of ChatGPT, of Claude, and like how you could use it. And then that could turn into a 1 minute recording, ends up taking 30 to 45 minutes of your time. And maybe inside of that time period, you realize that I'm just going to go and focus on other things because I'm running a business and I've got enough things to do right now. And so a lot of cases you'll find that professional video editors that you're going to be working with are going to be using tools like Descript, or again, there's Photoshop, there's a number of other video editing tools that you can tap into. But for the sake of where we're at right now, I'm going to go ahead and just start uploading my file into Opus because it's very simple and we want to get this out and onto social, into our social media. You can see here I've got a number of tools, a number of projects that are open inside of this account. But all I'm going to do is go ahead and click upload. I'm going to select the clip that you sent me, and you just shot this over in my Slack channel right now. For larger video files, I know we have a Google shared drive folder where you'll upload a larger video into Google, and you can actually import stuff in here from Google as well. One cool feature that Opus just came out with was being able to use natural language to prompt it to clip in certain areas. Now, I haven't gotten super deep into that feature, but basically, you could film a 30-minute video, have 5 different questions and answers inside of that video. And in theory, you could say, edit the video, make 5 clips based on all 5 questions and answers, and keep those as individual edits and clip it right there. And then it will go and do that. Now, I think that type of editing and that type of workflow is going to become more prevalent. And so understanding how and where and when you would even want to instruct a human editor is going to help with interacting with these tools. And if you are an editor, I would say empower yourself with these tools to be more effective and add more value in your own workflows and processes, because the AI editing tools are coming. They're already here. And the editors that are using these tools are going to far outpace the editors that are doing this type of editing in an old traditional way. So I edited the video, and we can see right here, ETA 5 minutes, it's at 20%. And so it's editing this video right now. What I'm going to do side by side on a separate tab is I'm also going to be adding your video into Descript. And so I can just show how some of these tools will operate. And again, there's processing time with this. I'm going to move my screen over right now. Kelly, let me know if you can see my Descript. Can you see? I'm going to just, because we've talked about it here, I'm going to go ahead and share my Descript as well, because I just think that it's helpful to know at least how a few of these tools might operate, with Descript's interface definitely being something that takes a little bit more getting used to, but how, again, very quickly you can go in, clean, trim, and edit something inside of a tool like Descript as well, while Opus is processing. So can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Kelly clip YouTube 1. I'm just going to give it a name. And now I've spent a good bit of time learning and going through tutorials on how to process Descript. For something this simple, I'm just going to delete some of the intros and any of the word gaps. And so that's what you see right here. I'm not deleting your word. I'm just deleting some gaps. Even if it's only a second, we don't need that. At the end, we don't need that either, because you finished your filming and then you went to close it. We're condensing some of the clip down a little bit right here. It's already uploaded it inside of the vertical format. I can edit and actually add studio sound to it in Descript. This is a pretty cool feature, I think, that it up levels the quality of your sound. And so I know you weren't using a fancy microphone, you were just using your phone when you were cleaning it. I don't know if Opus has this feature or not just yet, and I'm not trying to compare these feature for feature, but you do find that maybe you need to record something on the road. It's a little noisy. The studio sound can help you with just more clarity. and the content that you're producing. And it does that very quickly in here. And so I have edited, optimized it for some studio sound. Again, I'm just going to my underlord in the upper right-hand corner. If there are any filler words, you can address them right here, but you were super clean with that, Kelly. There weren't any filler words. There weren't a bunch of ums and ahs. And so we're fine there. There weren't any real word gaps that were short. That's where someplace, if you're on and you're trying to have something have a quicker pace and you say, hey, Kelly, so I got a question for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could remove
Mm-hmm.
that gap in there and to keep my pace going if I want my content and my style to be a little bit faster paced, or again, questions between longer word gaps. But within Descript, the Underlord also, like I mentioned, if I wanted to add a green screen, I could literally add a green screen in here behind you. We could get fancy with it. I'm not going to do that. You could center your eye contact. We're not going to get into that. You can create clips with this, but we're just making one clip. And so again, like there's a whole lot that we can do on here, drafting and social media and everything. But if all I wanted to do was create captions, which is what we're going to be doing with Opus to get to the same result, basically, I can select a style of captions. And as you can see, the captions are being added in right here to do this. I like this one.
And while you're placing those, you're demonstrating something that Deidre Shen, who is the founder of Capshow, shared in one of the Women Who AI summits. There's so many tools. Obviously, she was talking about Capshow, but we're seeing here, even in Descript, there are so many features that
Mm-hmm.
these tools have that can do so many different things. And one of the things that she shared that people really get hung up on is trying to use every single feature.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to like call you out that you demonstrated the exact thing that she said people should do, which is pick and choose the features that you want to use, like recognizing that there's a lot of things, like you said, eye contact, we're not going to use that right now, right? Like you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to use every single feature every time you edit a video, right? And that's where, for anybody who's tried to edit videos and have found themselves in this, wow, this, I could do this all day. Ask yourself, is it because you're trying to use every feature? And can you start to maybe come from that mindset that Darby just modeled, which is like giving yourself permission to pass over some features if you need to, if you don't think that it's necessary, or even if you don't know what it is, right? Video editing your video isn't the time to play with every single thing to see what it does. That's
Yeah.
really what prevents us from actually getting the video out there.
Yeah. It's more about how clearly can you articulate your message and get that initially out there. You can get the captions added on here in 2 seconds pretty much. And from this point, oops, I'm done editing this video at this point. I got the captions that I want. I'm going to add this right here in the middle so it's easy to see. I'm just going to click publish, and then I'm going to download this video. From here, I can go and upload this to our YouTube channel, and I could export and I could write the descriptions and I could do all of that sort of stuff. And again, very quickly, you can have a YouTube description to post this. But I'm also going to show now, like this is just Descript. There's a lot you can do here with it to get to the same result for a quick video like this. Again, we started with Opus. I'm going to finish with Opus. We just downloaded this clip. Literally, we take this and run with it. My Opus account is already set up and ready. With my social media channels, it took 2 minutes to set up basically. Once the social, you just link and log in your account, you're signed up, and then you're all set. But now that my video in Opus is ready, I'm going to jump back into Opus. I've already set up a template here that is in our Gen AI University Gold. It's got the white background. I don't have to really change anything with this. And at this stage in the game, you can add AI voiceover. You can edit the clip in here. You can schedule the post. If you have a larger video that has multiple clips, you can highlight and or thumbs down several of those clips. But again, very quickly, I'm just going to get into a real quick walkthrough because again, if they spell Gen AI University or your name wrong, Kelly, I just want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that it's getting some of the basic spelling proper. And so again, just doing super simple correction right here. Pause, save, Gen AI University. Just going to put a space there. You see how smart it is? It recognizes that word happened and it's just editing all of these right out the gate. So that's good. Again, I'm not getting into all the fancy stuff here. I'm just going to save my changes because that's all I want to do here. And the simplest form of getting this content pushed out, unlock content creation, repurpose content with AI today. I might want to change the title of it. And again, title on YouTube and any channel is going to be one of your most important descriptors. It's going to catch people in to know what they're looking at. So it's scheduling or it's saving, rendering the video. So it's at 55% right now. And my next steps from here are going to be the title and then the description of the post. Opus is actually going to provide me some of these details that I could use. I can modify it and then I could schedule it to get posted on our social media. So if I go and click schedule, you see how it starts here, unlock content creation, repurpose with AI today. Not a huge fan of that title necessarily. Is there anything that comes to your mind that you think makes a little bit more sense, Kelly, for what was covered?
I don't know what you think or where we're at with titles on YouTube's around just that straight, what are people trying to search for, right? So do we want something straightforward, like how to repurpose content with AI, or are we going for something that's more of that attention grabber?
I think here we just tell what it is. We say, hey, quick
Okay.
tips to repurposing content with AI.
Yep.
Actually, I'm going to say got content, quick tips to repurposing content with AI. Join Kelly Tenney as she shares some quick tips to efficiently transform existing content into fresh formats using AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude. All right. Sometimes I find that AI, like in a lot of cases, can give you too much information and on everything. And so I'm just going to delete what I don't like here. But then it's suggesting some hashtags that make sense to me. Of course, I could spend more time doing SEO research and getting into all of that stuff right now. And I could spend my own time or I can have a team do that research. But AI is becoming a much, much more effective at just giving you trending topic hashtags and ideas like that. And so you can always go back and upload and optimize things from that front. But I'm going to copy this.
There's an extra E in my last name.
Oh no, we got to fix that one here. All right, cool. Ooh, N-E-Y. All right, so I'm just going to copy this and it's going to be posting this. Let me see. All platforms, publish, add account. Yeah, so I'm just going to update the content on my other channels here. So you notice I got our Facebook, we got our LinkedIn, we got our YouTube. And so I'm just going to update the content for each of these. Actually, I think Kelly Tenney from Gen AI University shares some quick tips, even more straight to the point. All right, got content, Kelly Tenney. All right, cool. Just going to edit the content title here and screw it. We're just going to publish it now and put it out there. And there's our content for the day. And while that took us 22 minutes to do from the start of your ideation of this whole process, start to finish, could very much just take you 5 minutes to film, shoot, run it through here, upload, maybe say 10 if you need to make a few small minor edits. Obviously, we're not going to be spending a ton of time creating a video thumbnail for a 1-minute short like this going on YouTube. It's going to go into the YouTube Shorts feed, and it's 1-minute videos right now or less. I think it's 1 minute or less, maybe. I think if you're above a minute, then you go above that threshold. But yeah, did some research, identified some content that we can create around, leaned into the content that made sense and what resonated with your experience and skill set, Kelly, filmed the content, and then shot it on over. We ran it through Opus. We showed you how to do it Descript as well if you wanted to utilize a tool that is a bit more robust on the video editing front. But again, Opus, Descript, whatever tool you choose or decide to use or test out, don't forget to be the human in the process and shine and share your message with your audience in a way that is not going to come off and just sound like you're reading off another ChatGPT script. More and more people and brands that are just reading off a script or totally removing themselves from the process and completely stepping back from it. Maybe there are different advantages to certain businesses producing content at that level, especially if you're doing like training content and you're doing types of content that is designed more for implementation or supporting your audience or your customers or clients in other sorts of ways. For the purpose of this content, how we were doing it here, we're putting a face to the brand and Kelly's face in this instance to sharing something insightful and actionable onto our YouTube and social medias, where then people can come in, get exposed to Gen AI University, learn how they can use AI in different forms of their business, and put their ideas into action, which I think with this workflow, you use ChatGPT, the Market Sauce Mentalist GPT to coming up with ideas for content, fleshing out the structure and based on those ideas that you want to follow, filming that structure and actually creating the content, then running it through some AI powered editing tools for the post-production cycle to then getting your social medias plugged in, having your content distributed to your social channels. And then from the next step is going to be refining and reviewing your content and continuing to adapt and innovate your process as you get that feedback from your audience. About the top of our hour here, Kelly, when we're talking about creating dynamic video content and topics with AI around our ideal target audience. This is one example of many different applications for video content, but one I hope that you find, if you're watching this, helpful for a simple workflow you can use to help hopefully remove some of the overwhelm around what goes into producing and putting a content out on YouTube in the most simple form, in my opinion. What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, super powerful. Like you said, it was 20-ish minutes from what am I going to record to recording to actually editing it and getting it out there. And I know when we talk about the power of the market sauce, right? What do I do with all of this amazing content that is so valuable? Workflows like this, I think, should be at the top of everyone's list so that you can make sure that you're putting that content out there. And like you've shared, how do we know what our audience likes, right? We're never going to get that market research if we're not putting out a lot of a variety of content. And we can't afford to get stuck in the weeds of, I put one out a month, right? Because that's not really going to tell us what our audience wants to see. But this workflow, be able to do it in 20 or so minutes, I think everybody could raise their hand and say, yeah, I've got a half an hour to potentially create a video that I can put out there every day. Or of course, going into batching, I have an hour where I can produce 3 or so. But you've really been able to simplify that process, right? And really just show how a very focused workflow of going from not even having an idea to getting something out there. And I think something like this is part of the content that we should be creating every day.
Absolutely. And consistency to creating the content is going to make or break it when it comes to producing organic content. And the more that you produce, the more that you create, the more that you learn what works for you, what doesn't, what roadblocks are stopping you, and where you need to partner with other people as part of your content production process to streamline and build your own content distribution machine, really, at the end of the day. But you can start with just a simple 1-minute video. Do that once a day for 30 days. I'm sure you're going to see some better results than not posting content on a daily basis. But I'm happy to get proved wrong, but also happy to hear how you guys do win and succeed by following a workflow like this or building and expanding on it on your own. So please do let us know if you find this useful and helpful in the comments, and also any tips or wins that you have found useful, even AI tools that you found useful in your own content production process. Let us know, share in the comments. And if you like this type of content, want more in-depth training and to be part of our whole community, you can go ahead and join us at genaiuniversity.com. And if you'd like the Market Sauce GPT, you can actually order and subscribe to our full Market Sauce delivery system to order these on demand and get them created and delivered, done for you when you go to marketsauce.ai. All that said and done, my name is Darby Rollins, joined today with our co-host Kelly Tenney. Keep calm and AI on. We'll see you on the other side. Cheers, y'all.